What's up, cyberspace cadets? It's IRATE Prostate here, along with my brother, Big Fat Brian. Say hey, Brian.
What up, fam?
And it's Hot Takes on Netflix. This is a weekly show in which we talk about science fiction and horror films that are on Netflix, that are currently showing on Netflix, and so this week we're going to look at two films that were both presented as sci-fi films. One is called The Titan, and the other, Brian? Yes. So, starring rock legend Neil Young, and hold on one second. All right. Well, Uzi Q was just had a moment of she must have had a brain hemorrhage or some shit. But anyway, so yeah. So I went into these two movies. Thinking, shit. I don't even know how I want to talk about these. Okay, all right. I'll go ahead and start rolling the slide from that, and we'll start with the opening. So the Titan. You want to talk a little bit about it, and then I'll pop in with you. Exactly. What? All right. If anybody can hear me, I cannot hear Brian. Brian, are you there? If you want to, try to go back out and come back in. Let's see. Okay. People were saying that they couldn't hear Brian when he was talking. Is that what's going on here? Okay. Brian? I don't think Brian is aware of what's going on with his. Brian, if you can hear me, I can't hear you, and you might want to disconnect and come back in. Okay? I'll show you what. Okay. So can everybody hear me? Everybody good with that? All right, OG Phantom, Death Harukin, Jacob Navo, everybody, can you hear me? Okay. Just give me a 1 if you can, and give a 2 if you cannot hear Brian. Okay. Yeah, we're having. I don't know what's going on with Brian's. But my Discord says it's disconnect. Says I'm disconnected. Oh wow. Okay, can everyone hear me? Because I've got it to where the it should be able to pick up my mic. Please hit 1 if you can hear me. Okay, because I believe that we were having a Discord problem, and let's see what's going on here. Yeah, man, this is really weird. It's the last time I've done something fairly big size, and it's done this again. So I apologize wholeheartedly to everyone. All right, and Uzi Q is saying that I can be heard. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back and we'll reload Discord and see if we can get that going. But yeah, what I'll do is I'll talk about the. All right, so the movie Titan, it opens up as basically it's your the world is ending, and we need, we're trying to figure out a way to save humanity type thing, right? And so there's this secret government program that's run through NATO with all these different people from all these different countries that are going to be part of it. And what they're doing is they're going to try to genetically modify humans so we can, so humanity can survive once we've destroyed the Earth. We can survive on the moon of Jupiter Titan, which has a lot of similar. It has an atmosphere, so it's the only other rock on this planet. I mean, in this solar system besides Mars that has an atmosphere. To be honest, I don't know why they didn't think about Mars, but we'll get back to that as soon as we get Brian on board. What I had to do was I had to reboot my my Discord as well. And so what we're going to do is we're going to try to pick this back up. And sorry to everyone. And let me know if you have any questions or anything. I'm trying to crank up my my Discord, and I am not getting anything from it. So everybody says everything's at a low volume, so I'll try to crank me up. See, is that better? Hello? Yeah, and yeah, the whole deal was that there's liquid methane. The planet would be uninhabitable by humanity. I mean, so what they would have to do is totally modify humanity, on a genetic level. So they start the program, and what it is that they're trying to weed it down to where there's at least a pair of male. I was thinking that they were trying to look up a male and a female to pair up for this thing, and it also looks like Discord's dead. I don't know what happened, but I can't connect on it at all. So it looks like I'm flying solo on this deal, which is sad because I really enjoy doing this thing with Brian. We were just talking beforehand how much fun we've been having doing this. Once again, I'm going to try it one more time and see what happens. All right. So we get some. Okay. All right. Brian says he's logging in. Somebody says that's better. Okay, on the voice. So yeah, what I did was I tried to crank up just a little bit, and I'll even crank the mic up more. So if that's good, just let me know. Test 1 2 3. Test 1 2 3. Everybody hear me better? Just let me know what I need to do, and I'll be glad to do it. I don't understand what's going on with Discord. That's just the weirdest damn thing. Out of all the times Discord would pick to just fuck up, it would be this one, right? So what we're even going to try is to go through the go through the browser. All right, so Sam Worthington is the main character, along with the actress that plays. She's the main character that's in Orange is the New Black. I think her name is Taylor Schilling. And then this old dude that played Dumbledore. Isn't this the guy that played Dumbledore? I'm not. I don't know, man. But anyway, so yeah, you know, when the other guy that played Dumbledore died, this guy took his spot, I think. So this is weird. Yeah, and Discord is just totally we don't know what's going on with that. Wade just says the volume is fine. Just got to close OBS, I guess. No, OBS is doing great. It's Discord that's the problem. Just give me 1 second and. I totally want to apologize to everybody. Let's see. What I want to have to do is kill Discord and let's see. Okay. Yeah, that dude was not the guy that played Dumbledore, I was informed. Yeah, my bad. I don't know. I can't remember who this guy is. But Discord is totally not booting up for me at all. And I'm going to look at server status. Well, everything says it's fine. Supposedly everything's supposed to be operational, so I don't know. I honestly don't know. Okay, Discord is up again. Fantastic. Brian, can you hear me? Oh shit. Okay, hold on. Let's see if we got everybody now. All right, and all right, you go say hey, man. All right, this is not picking you up. God damn it. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to kill this and let's see what we got. All right, give us a test now, man. We can't hear you. Okay, everybody say we can't hear him. Can't hear him. Oh shit! All right, now talk. No. This is crazy. Yeah, it's not picking anything up. This is crazy. what I could do is I could if I reboot OBS to log back into this stuff. Hold on a second. Yeah, it will. Which is odd. It should be able to. Try it now. Brian.
Hey, what's going on? What's up?
All right. I think that went through. I think that went through.
Okay. Well, where were we? We were talking about Dumbledore.
Well, yeah, no, we realized that it was not Dumbledore. the guy that I thought looked like Dumbledore. But I believe that everybody can hear now.
What's up? Yeah, what's up?
So, oh wow, the slideshow is going to start all over from the beginning. So whatever. Hey. So yeah, we were talking about, this is it starts out, the planet is dying. Let's see, hit one if you can hear Big Fat Brian. Count to 10, Brian.
Yeah, well, Ouija can hear me, but he said you need to boost my volume.
All right, I got you boosted all the way up, and I'll cut me back. All right, Ouija, how about that? Is that better?
7 years ago, on this very day, we watched a movie, and then we did not get to do the review because of technical difficulties.
This is so weird, man. I mean, it's like because you started talking and then boom, it was gone.
Yeah, I just completely messed up. That's weird. So are we good to go? Or
yeah, I think we're good now. Everybody's given ones. So
okay. Yeah. So he's not Dumbledore. We already went over the scenario of like the breeding pair and stuff, right?
Basically, yeah. I talked about that the idea was to move humanity to an environment that's like basically it's methane gas. In the pools are like chlorine or something like that, right? I can't exactly remember exactly what it was, but the environment is totally. I mean, it's something that. And my question is, why didn't they just think about Mars? Don't you think it'd be
well, yeah.
Don't you think it'd be easier to figure out how to breathe, the Martian atmosphere and live in that than like all the way out in Titan? I mean, that's just a question I had, man.
That's a good question. I don't know why they didn't. I mean, even if you had to create like, a space colony, let's say, where you're in a dome, it doesn't matter as long as you're existing on Mars. It's not that far away. The logistics of getting anyone there would be way easier.
Right.
It does seem like, okay, well, I don't know why they chose it, but maybe it was because they decided they wanted to go with this whole theory of adapting to the environment, and there's not exactly a whole ton of water or liquid of any sort on Mars,
Right.
So that's the only thing I can think of. But I mean, I also don't understand why the characters and this is we're getting a little bit into the story here, so this might be a bit of a spoiler. I don't understand why the characters would decide, after they start taking the injections and turning into these like essentially monster superhuman things, right?
Right.
Why, when they realize that they're no longer human, like, you don't look human anymore. Nothing about you is really human. You don't even communicate in the same way humans do. Why would you sort of go through with that? I don't know. It seems like there was a lot of indicators that this was a bad idea to do in general.
Right.
and there was nobody even said anything about it. You know, nobody was like, "Hey, I got these weird veins popping out of the side of my arm."
or when the country guy kind of flips out and like wants to hurl the stone table, and everybody just gathers around him and says, calm down, everything's cool. It's like,
yeah. At that point,
yeah, this dude is freaking out. He's turned into a fucking gorilla. What the fuck,
well, yeah, Earth. I see. We got Ouija in the chat saying Earth was going to die in a few decades. That's true, but I don't see why we wouldn't be able to, essentially do some sort of terraforming or base building on Mars.
Well,
versus,
remember, he said that terraforming was like was like just too. It was too expensive, and it was just too cumbersome to make happen. So the easiest way would be to adapt man, genetically to fit the harsh environments. And then my question was, why not Mars?
Yeah. Well, I can see why not Mars though. Like, essentially very little oxygen, essentially not having liquid water of any sort, or anything that's sort of the building blocks of life on the planet is a huge hindrance. But I don't know. I think a lot of what people were saying is, I mean, not what people were saying, but what the movie says is that it would cost too much. And I'm thinking to myself, if you really believe that the planet's going to die, then why does the cost matter?
Right. Why is money an object? Exactly.
Yeah.
I see exactly where you're going with that, because that doesn't make any sense either. So yeah, Ouija is Ouija. If you want to, man, why don't you just come in and come in my Discord and just hang out with us if you want to talk. I'll drag you in.
For sure, man.
Because that's kind of the way we do this show is planned. It was like a call-in type thing. So come on in for 10 or 15 minutes. We'll talk about this one. Because since we're talking about two films, we got a lot of room we can cover. So, you'd be more than welcome.
I also thought that a lot of the actions of the doctor or mad scientist seemed like really impulsive, right? You've got this one shot. You've got only one shot to do this, and you're going to be impulsive about how you go about your science,
right?
What are you doing? And the fact that they even had the families with these people, they should have been isolated from the beginning. That's sort of how that goes with experimental military operations. Is you're probably not there with your whole family.
Right. That doesn't make any sense at all. Why they brought the fucking families? Because they knew they were going to be modifying these people into like these, these beings that weren't going to be human. I mean, yeah. I mean, the guy who wrote the book, he's, and the whole idea was to create, Homo Titanicus, or I think that was the word that he used, right? Because when she looks through the little book, he had written down there, Homo Titanicus. He was trying to figure out the name to call it, because he was literally looking at his, own reflection in the history books. And I think that's what that whole thing was about. It was more about this guy's ego and what he was creating. Modern day Prometheus talked about, grabbing fire from the gods, and that was the modern day Prometheus is the not the subtitle, the secondary title to Frankenstein, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, or Frankenstein, or a modern day Prometheus. So that's a direct so yeah, this movie comes right out of the 50s in concept And I've seen this movie. Idea-wise, I've seen this movie like 50 or 60 times.
It's not super original.
Right. It's like my favorite of this type of genre film would be War of the Colossal Beast, where they experiment on this guy and he gets caught in a nuclear explosion or some shit, and he turns into this giant monster. And then they think they kill him at the end of the first movie, and then at the second movie, it comes back and like his like eye is gone, so part of his skull is showing, and like you remember the scene in Breaking Bad? When the dude got blown up, Fring got blown up, and he was standing there, and you could see half his skull and shit. And he straightened his tie, and then he falls over. That was a direct nod.
Chicken Man.
He looked just like War of the Colossal Beast. That was a direct nod to that movie. So,
hey, we've got Ouija in the waiting room.
Well, Ouija, let's see.
You want me to pull him in?
Pull his ass in here.
What's going on, Ouija?
Hey! Oh shit! Let me turn off my Bluetooth speakers.
Yeah.
There we go. Okay. There we go. Should be good. Yeah. What's going on, guys?
Good.
Not a whole lot. What'd you think of the Titan?
It was a good way to kill some time.
I agree.
Yeah. Yeah, it didn't have the strong scientific foundation that it really would have needed to pull off that kind of story, I think.
Yeah. And what about that scene where the wife like sneaks into this military base?
Yeah.
I'm like, no, that's not how that would work.
Well, my question is why in the fuck did she do it? I mean, she knew what was going on. They had told her up front what was happening. I mean,
well, she was qualified to be involved with the scientific end herself.
Right. Well, yeah. And why? So she's she's going in there, and so her discovery is that she realizes that there's these people that have died because of this experimentation. You don't think when you fucking manipulate genetics on a human being, on a basic DNA level, you're not going to kill some people?
Right?
Yeah.
I mean,
they should have known. Yeah,
no shit. I mean, the whole idea of bringing the families in the mall, and who gives a shit? You know what I'm saying? It's like save all that shit for where we're going.
Exactly.
Do you remember the main character, his wife's reaction when she found out some additional details about what DNA they were using? Like, it didn't make sense. She knew he was being genetically modified, so what difference does it make whether it was what exactly that DNA was?
Oh my God, it's animal DNA.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, surely that's better than just something that's completely synthetic, no? I mean,
right? Yeah, right.
Exactly. Or even something like, like insectoid or some shit,
I mean,
but think of it this way: we also share most of our DNA with animals, so
exactly.
not really seeing a problem here.
Yeah, it didn't make a lot of sense. I don't know.
But I actually agree with you, Ouija. The movie is a good way to pass time, and personally, I think that. Like there's a lot it could have done a lot better, but there was a lot that I'm glad I was sitting at home watching it on Netflix and I had not paid for a movie ticket or anything, but I'd watch it again if I got really bored. Yeah,
it wasn't terrible. It was definitely a good way to kill some time. I probably would have been upset had I paid like $15 or something
Oh,
for
yeah.
a movie ticket or something. Yeah, that would have been.
Yeah, exactly. And I ended up I had to watch both of these films. I usually give them at least two views, just to make sure I didn't miss anything, and to make sure that I've got everything right. And then of course I have to grab the slides and shit for them. So I've spent quite amount of time looking at both of these films, and you're right. It kind of stands up as a good. Good popcorn, type of this is your good old science fiction movie. We're gonna sit, and just and kind of from an escapism standpoint, it's not bad. It's not a ridiculously shitty story. But it's like if you're if you're like a fan of like Altered Carbon or something. It's not going to meet those expectations at all.
Yeah, I would say so on that. Also, I would say that this is definitely, if we should get a graphics for this. This is a Netflix and chill movie.
Yeah,
it really is.
Yeah.
That's tried and tested, my friend.
Nice. Yeah, it would have. I would say that the skeletal premise of this was original and interesting enough. It was more just the fleshing out of it that didn't work quite as well. If this had been tackled by somebody like the author of the Southern Reach trilogy, or somebody like that has a kind of a more firm grasp on the genetic aspect of it, and had made certain things a little more believable, I think it might have elevated it a little bit. But as it is, I think it's still worth a watch if this genre is kind of up your alley anyway.
Yeah, and it's interesting. You mentioned the writer of the Southern Reach. I was thinking of like the writers of The Expanse. Of that, what is that now? Up to 7 books, 5, 6, 7 books.
It's 5 books.
It's
5 books.
It's at 5 now. Okay, so
yeah,
and season 3 of The Expanse started last night on Syfy, and comparing like something that's got good science behind it, The Expanse. In comparison, it's like nothing like nothing that's lightly approached by either a writer, a director, or even a cast. Where the writing and the directing is essential if you want to put like, even if you want to put bullshit science in something and make it work. There's a way to do that. And there is, and they don't quite get you there.
Well, you can add stuff like that and then not explain it very well and kind of leave it vague, as long as it's still within the realm of possibility. But the audience has to be able to continue that suspension of disbelief. And I found myself at several points in this movie where that wasn't possible for me.
Right?
So
yeah.
I think that was the main issue.
I think the term is, what the fuck is this? Like, what am I looking at here? What did you do?
Yeah, Sam Worthington's really getting typecast, isn't he?
Man. Exactly. He's like the Marine who's like gonna do whatever he can for his country, and of course he's in Avatar. He's like become one of those creatures, and he's it's just and speaking of, man, has anybody heard if part 2 of that is ever going to see the light of day?
Well, I actually think we just watched part 2.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll happen sooner or later. There's a bunch of things in the works right now that I think we'll probably start hearing about. I think Dune's being remade, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep,
it is.
I'm waiting for it. Oh,
Yeah.
the
let's hope
spice
that's
must
good.
flow.
Yeah. Yeah, I probably shouldn't take us down that path. We could.
Yes, that'll be
that'd be a whole different show. But yeah,
Well,
there's been a bunch of movies like this that have flown under the radar recently that I've downloaded and watched and have been, have at least been worth the watch.
legally downloaded off of Amazon
Yeah, and Netflix, yes.
and
Yeah,
Netflix.
streaming.
Yes,
Yeah,
streaming.
yes.
Certainly not pirated.
We don't. No. We don't. We can't. No. We would never endorse any type of illegal activity when it comes to copyright laws.
IRATE. Would you clone a car?
What? I'm sorry. Would I what?
Would you clone a car?
No, I wouldn't.
You're the right type of guy then.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm not a car cloner.
I'm not a car cloner.
That's right.
I would never. Not even if it was free to do.
Oh shit.
But yeah, and that's kind of the idea of this series. What we're doing here, Ouija, and is to take these kind of movies that are readily available at people's fingertips. We picked Netflix because it's pretty much becoming a universal, especially to the online community, and to the audience that we're trying to reach here. And so we're just focusing on purely on sci-fi and horror, and exactly. And so that was the idea. We're looking at series and films, and miniseries, whatever comes in. Brian and I we talked about foreign. There's a lot of foreign stuff, and we've been finding a lot of problems with Netflix not putting an English
Dub.
audio track dub right.
Yeah.
For that's not for the blind or something.
Those ones were the greatest, though. For the blind ones.
Yeah, the ones that kind of go into detail about like gesticulation and noises and stuff.
Yeah.
As a cricket slowly chirps, the man bends over and adjusts his testicles just to look up and look at the sky. And now he says, "Oh my goodness, John, what are we doing here?" "I don't know, Bob, but it looks fun."
Yeah, there's
dog barking in background.
Yeah, dog barking.
There's a 3-letter acronym for those type of subtitles. Like if you download a movie somewhere and it has multiple subtitles, I want to say it's like for some reason I want to say HRT, but that's hormone replacement.
Yeah,
therapy.
that is.
I'm not. I can't remember what it is. It's something like that. There's a 3-letter abbreviation, not acronym, that's used. But yeah, I don't know. Sometimes, like, I don't mind subtitles, but sometimes especially on a movie like this where you're trying to just kind of relax and not really put the effort in, it's nice, if it's a foreign movie to be able to, if the dub is decent, but it just kind of depends, I guess.
It's like I don't know, guys like I think guys like us that we tend to be multitaskers, and so we'll have something on, because we got to get shit done. We got shit to do. We got things to get done, But but then again, a good movie will pull me in to get my full attention, to where reading the subtitles is not so hard for me. I'm of the older deal, so I can handle a slower burn, when it comes to movie development and stuff. I don't need, I love a good fast paced movie, that goes boom 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 boom, but I also like that kind of like, turns up the gas slower and slower until you realize, holy shit, I'm boiling. I really like movies that Polanski, the asshole piece of shit that he is as a human, he makes some really good slow burn movies that'll blow your mind. that's one of those hard ones. I don't want to recommend. Based on who he is, but you can't deny the art. When you see it, it's just.
Yeah. Well, my philosophy on that is that I will certainly watch the movie, but I won't contribute financially to a person like that. So that's
exactly.
Because the movie exists already. There's watching it, as long as you're not contributing anything financially to that person,
Right, and Rosemary's Baby, right, and Rosemary's Baby is like the penultimate of those. So yeah, and it's on just about all the time. You can find it playing somewhere on cable or whatever. So yeah, exactly. I guess, what are we at the point of where we're going to grade this sucker?
I'm down to do it.
What
should we
out of 10 or what? Like 0 to 10?
Yeah, it's out of 10, but I think we should go over one last scene. And this is definitely a spoiler scene, so for those of you out there,
and we do usually spoil the shit out of the stuff that we cover.
So after the metamorphosis stage of whatever that is, the genetic change they go through, they get they turn gray and they sort of look like the people from Avatar, bluish gray, and they have no ears and snake noses and it's very, very, very odd because they have wings.
Yeah.
Well, they did say bat DNA, right?
Yeah, but come the fuck on.
Yeah, I mean. Yeah.
Well,
that's just not the way genetics works. I mean,
no, it's not.
And think about this: all right, if the atmosphere is so thick that you could fly through it, how in the fuck can you breathe it?
Wait,
yeah, I don't know how the atmosphere would be that thick if it's that cold. But I don't know.
See, that's the point.
But,
exactly. There's all these questions. Man. It's bigger than Earth, man. So the gravity is going to have a higher G factor than Earth. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah. Well, like that, it makes sense that they would be able to fly in something they can exist in. Birds can fly in our atmosphere.
Yeah.
It's
maybe he was more like just gliding. I don't know. I don't remember the very.
Yeah, he looked like he was gliding-ish, but I don't think that's really a big problem on that planet because it does have a thicker atmosphere if I believe. I mean, not.
Okay.
Not if
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it is thicker.
Yeah, I'm not.
Those are the old school Steve Ditko Spider-Man wings. From the
they weren't big enough. That's for sure.
Spider-Man and shit.
Yeah,
exactly. They weren't big enough to even if you were gliding. I mean, it's not even like flying squirrel type believable. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't come complete with a nutsack parachute.
Exactly. Hey, Rookie, what if you pull a rabbit out of my hat?
I mean, are his legs webbed? It doesn't. What?
Yeah.
This doesn't make any sense.
Well, it seemed like they just picked random animals too,
Yeah.
For the other participants. So, and I'm assuming. Oh, and then the.
Who breathes methane? Who can breathe methane? And what about
sparks? No. I mean, maybe those things down at the seafloor or whatever.
Yeah, they're brushworms.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but
yeah,
I'm sure there are things that we probably haven't discovered yet that also survive in other extreme environments. But I just kind of wanted to go back to the other strange changes that he experienced. The tentacle things that would come out of his hand.
Yeah, that didn't make any sense.
Yeah, and then the female that was also a part of the program that I guess they gave the same DNA, and I assume that their plan the whole time was to send up a mating pair.
Right? Exactly. That's exactly.
That's the only way the human race is going to survive.
Correct.
Yeah, exactly. Now they didn't they didn't really elaborate on that, but I guess maybe they cut some scenes that they had filmed that kind of got into that, because you could kind of tell by the way that his wife looked at the other woman that was
that she was jealous.
through it. Yeah, that she kind of saw that that's maybe where it was going, but it looks like they may have cut some of that out of the movie.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly, because there should have been like some play up to it, because it showed in the movie, like when they're under the water and shit, there's that connection's beginning with them, but then and then there was the scene in the shower where she likes pulling out his hair and shit and laughing at him, and then they just kind of forgot about that shit, and then later, okay, it's just them two, and she's got those little like worm thingies coming out of her fingers and shit like him, and then
but
like
they seem to be for like reproduction or something,
and
for
defense,
mating.
And for defense,
Yeah,
because they coiled up into that,
like
that
weapon.
little weapon thing, man. It was just like, goddamn, it's like, okay, that was just.
And then the other thing they don't explain is, so after the towards the end, when he gets together with his wife and they have that kind of moment where I guess his little tentacle things come out, and I don't know, they don't really explain it, but they kind of leave it open-ended as to what's actually happening there, but it's almost like he's reading her mind or something like that, or he's able to read her emotions or something like that.
They said that they can like communicate through really low frequencies that we can't hear. But then again, so what did that? So, yeah, exactly. See, when her head touches his, is he was supposed to get what she was trying to tell him, like, I'm injecting you with saline, so fake like you're going to sleep. That didn't make any sense either. That raised the flag.
They may have cut. I get the feeling that this movie got overly broad in time anyway, and the studio probably forced them to cut a lot of content that may have explained some of these things. But that's just a guess.
Yeah.
I really don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it could just be bad writing.
That's true. That's true as well.
He says the grunts from Halo breathe methane, and all marine trench animals breathe methane. That's from Death Harukin. So, okay, thanks.
I guess that when he says marine trench animals, is he?
I think he's talking about
kind of talking about the stuff that we were.
Yeah, the critters that live
about,
there.
Brushworms.
Yeah, the vents or whatever. Yeah.
A lot of the things that breathe methane are silicone based, though, not carbon based. Yeah. Well, actually, not a lot of the things. Some of the things, I should say.
Right.
Yeah. See, I would think that if we were going to survive on a completely different planet or moon, I guess, in this instance, and the atmosphere was that different, life that would have evolved there naturally would be so different from us that I don't know if it would be possible to just modify us to adapt to that environment. I don't know if that's actually possible. I would like to know, but I don't know. It seems a bit far-fetched.
Yeah, it does.
But who knows what's really possible? I mean, obviously, the genetic code is quite expansive and complicated, and I guess we don't really know until we mess with it some more what all is actually possible.
Yeah, and I would be honest with y'all, man, and this just may be me, and I'm not a big proponent on this, like, well, when we finally destroy this planet, we're going to have to, confront some really hard questions, and we need to answer those questions now so that our children or our grandchildren or our great-grandchildren or our great-great-great-grandchildren don't have to answer those questions. And it's like, what the fuck? I'm not big on I just don't buy the climate change thing, It just doesn't make sense to me.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it doesn't have to be climate change. It can be
Man-made. I will say that man. All right, here's what I believe. All right, I believe that man can. I think we contribute to it, whatever's going on with the climate. But I think all of that is nature driven, man, and has more to do with the sun and the actual Earth itself than it does with humanity.
Yeah, I don't really know to what degree or what extent we influence that. Obviously, there are.
well,
We have ice ages, and then those
Yeah.
periods end, and
we actually have this thing called what is it called? Carbon diminishment or whatever, where we're blocking out parts of the UV ray that would hit our planet normally because we have so much carbon in our atmosphere now.
yeah, oh yeah. I mean, I'm certain that we are we are changing our planet in probably more ways than we even realize.
Yeah. I'm not saying that's who knows? You could accidentally make a planet that was cooler, but
Yeah. Well, I guess then you've got to worry about it kind
other
of running
problems.
away from you.
Yeah, exactly.
We end up ending up like Mars or something like that. It's just hard to.
But I
Hard to
much
say.
more think that whether or not it's a climate change thing, there's so many other things that could also happen that would make us need to leave the planet. Like
Oh, yeah.
let's say.
Like massive solar flare. Is probably,
Yeah, massive solar flare, nuclear war, and you've only got this many
Exactly.
generations before you're fucked.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And
I
that,
think there's more immediate concerns for sure.
Yeah.
and I think that's what I was drawing at. These movies are getting, I don't know, a little bit thin. It's just like I wish they would just get a little more creative.
Well, you want something.
Yeah.
You want something thin. How the hell is it even going to matter if you genetically modify these humans if they're not humans anymore?
Yeah, that seemed to be the whole premise, was that we need to ensure the survival of the human race, and then
And
they're
then
not
these
human
aren't humans.
anymore.
Yeah, they're not human.
Right. Well, see, and that was my question: are these going to be like a race of slaves that are just going to be, this like, all right, so we're going to have a whole generation of these people that are going to build this society for normal humans to live in, right?
Well,
No, I don't think that was the plan.
Exactly. That's what.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
question, though. It's like what it didn't make sense. It's just like, go
Well,
ahead and get on it.
yeah, even if their project had succeeded and the mating pair had gone up there, obviously their behavior and everything would have been different. I mean, they seem to be completely different organisms in every sense. So yeah, I don't I don't know how that fit in with their stated mission, but yeah, it's another kind of hole in that.
Right. Exactly. It just didn't fit. It just didn't make sense. So.
Yeah. Well, their mission failed, right? I mean, if you think about it,
It's a
because
huge fail.
Well, no,
Yeah.
the guy said in the airplane that it was a success because they sent him up there, and obviously he's now, at the end you see him on Titan flying.
but he has no way to reproduce.
There's no way to reproduce.
Yeah.
He can't communicate with anyone.
Yeah, I mean, he's up. That's what I was thinking. I was like, why did they even send him up there? Like,
Right?
That was my
Like-
exactly, man. What did that ending even fucking mean?
ooh, I get to fly around in the methane.
Well, so
like.
but it looked like that they were like looking at stuff and they were examining stuff that maybe he was sending back to them.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what the ending was supposed to signify.
And
as
the way
far as
that those
the
buildings
specifics.
looked, they looked like they were supposed to be on another planet at the end. The little NASA domes that were connected and shit.
Oh yeah, were they supposed to be like in orbit around Titan or something like that? I don't know. Like
Exactly.
I'd have to go back and look at the ending again. Actually,
I don't think they were. I think they were supposed to be on Earth.
Yeah, that's kind of the impression that I got as far as like when his wife was looking up at the stars
Yeah,
with their
exactly.
kid,
Yeah.
and he was kind of looking up to. But then it kind of came out from the atmosphere of Titan and looked, was kind of in orbit around Titan, and I started to wonder, oh, maybe they've got some kind of like spacecraft or something, like a space station orbiting. But no.
Nope.
I guess the idea was that they were gonna like work on her maybe next and get her to be altered genetically in the same way her husband was, and then
A
maybe send
weird
her
bat
up.
person
Yeah.
with tentacles.
Yeah, I don't know. How did any of that ensure the survival of her child, which was basically her motivation
And
for
he
kind of
is
pushing her husband?
Yeah, remember exactly. He tells that guy to shut the fuck up. If he said, "Do you have any kids?" He goes, "No." Well, then shut the fuck up.
Yeah. One of the first scene in the movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
When they're getting sold on the idea of why they were there, and what he was trying to do, what the old man's trying to do. It's just like, dude. So the more we talk about this shit, the more questions start coming out. So I guess this is just made for light consumption, just like a little snack.
It gives you something to discuss. I mean,
exactly.
It was still interesting, I guess.
So what do you give it out of 10, IRATE?
That's a good question. Give it the popcorn thing, like on a Saturday, you're sitting around and you just sit around in your shorts and you're scratching your nards and wondering something on. That'd be something to pop on, So yeah, I would give it a 6.5, maybe a 7.
I think I'd give it a 6.
Yeah.
What did I give Full Metal Alchemist? Does anyone know?
I can't remember. I think you gave it a 6, maybe.
Oh, did I give it a 6? This is a 6.1 then.
Oh shit! Oh man. So I guess we've got our.
And the only reason this is 6.1 is because it had Natalie Emmanuel in it.
Yes, man. The exactly the chick.
Good damn.
Yeah, from
wait, which
Game of
one
Thrones.
was that?
She was the chick from Game of Thrones.
She's also from a show called I think it's Skins.
Who was she in this movie?
She was the really hot black chick that was part of the program. The one that ended up being his mate.
Yeah, the British. Yeah, she's in a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
She's in a lot of BBC stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen her nude before in a movie.
Oh, she was in Game of Thrones.
Yeah, she was in Game of Thrones and also in what was the other one she was in that she was?
She plays Miss Sunday or
Misfits.
Miss Sunday.
She was
exactly.
2011. She was in Misfits. That's what it was.
Misfits.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's been in a lot of like BBC and other UK productions.
Definitely.
I think she played it like a junkie police officer or something in one thing I saw, and I can't remember what movie that was. But yeah, this is one of those movies that kind of flew under the radar for me until it got released, and then I saw it and I was like, oh, I've got nothing better to do. And I was kind of surprised to see that there were recognizable, names in it. Another movie like that came out a few days ago, as far as I know, was 12 Strong, about the first guys to go into Afghanistan after 9/11. Had a whole bunch of stars in it, man. The dude that plays Thor and Michael Shannon, and I don't know. I had no idea this movie was coming out.
Right.
for the number of like stars in it, and it was pretty good. That was pretty good too. A little unrealistic at the end, but supposedly based on a true story. So I don't know.
So should we talk about the other movie now?
Yeah, I need to do something real quick. Why don't y'all keep talking about maybe? Why don't y'all look and see if there's something that maybe we can look at next week? I
already found something.
All right, hold on a second. I will be. I have to. I've really.
Yeah, you're fine, man.
Yeah,
you're fine.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
He's pooping. He's going poop.
You asshole.
Yeah, actually, I didn't see this other. Is it a like feature length or is it a?
It's
short?
It's called Paradox, and it's Neil Young, in like a post-apocalyptic Western steampunk world.
Oh, wait, is Daryl Hannah in this too?
Uh-huh.
Oh, she directed it.
She did.
Huh. I think maybe I don't know. I'm trying to remember if I maybe saw this on IMDb or something.
Well, so
Ooh, that's a terrible rating. Wow.
We aren't influenced by any other sources here. I just want to say that this movie was it was fantastic. I really liked this movie. I'm not lying at all. This movie is probably the best movie of 2018.
Yeah, I wish I had seen this too, so that I could kind of discuss it further with you guys. I'll have to. Well, I don't know. Depending on your all's talk on this when IRATE comes back,
All right, I'm here. I'm back, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to kill the. Go ahead and start the slideshow for this the movie. And Jacob Navo wanted to come in and talk about this. All right, and
yeah, because I haven't seen Paradox, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean,
And see, in Paradox, the deal here is that Paradox was marketed as a sci-fi piece, the directorial debut of Daryl Hannah, and it stars Neil Young. All right, Jacob, you are now in with us, and you wanna say hi?
Hi.
Hello, man.
I think it's generous calling it a movie.
Hold on. Turn it down a little bit.
Jesus.
Yeah, we gotta
back the mic down. Now, try it again, Jacob.
Is that good?
Better.
A little more.
Yeah, maybe just a little bit lower.
Well, I'm using a headset microphone.
Yeah,
okay.
that's fine. I got you on this end. All right, and I think I've got you. Is that better, guys? Yeah.
There we go.
I think you're being generous by calling Paradox a movie.
Whoa. Guys, we gotta give it a fair review here. Give it a fair shake of the limbs.
Well, I mean,
all right, so here's the deal. All right, what pissed me off was the fact that this thing was marketed as a sci-fi movie. Okay, when I saw the title of it like about a month and a half or 2 months ago. This came out in March, right? And I saw it in a list, and I went to the list, and it says this is supposedly a quote a cerebral movie that was set in a future that was a long time ago, back in the future, right? Was that kind of was exactly that kind of thing.
A cerebral palsy movie, maybe?
This is also described as a fantasy, a loud poem. A loud poem. All right?
A loud poem.
An unrealistic tale, and blah, blah, blah. All right, so, all right, yeah, and what this ended up being, it's better to say this was a good concert movie instead of being a science fiction film that has a guy that has a concert in it.
It was a great concert film. You can just close your eyes and just listen to the music.
Yeah. And Neil Young. Now, all right, let me give you all a little music lesson here. Neil Young comes from the school of Woody Guthrie and fucking what's his name? Woody Guthrie, Tom Petty, and the guy, God, what's his name, man? He talks like this, sings like this, you know.
Bob Dylan.
Who?
Bob Dylan.
Bob Dylan, exactly. You know, the less is more kind of school of music, right?
Also known as the Stoner's School of Music.
Well, yeah, and there's a lot of this, you know, one-note leads and stuff where they play, you know, it's like if you listen to most of Neil Young stuff are constructed around EAD and EADG or some combination therein of that chord structure, right? And
Willie Nelson's in this too, huh?
Yeah, and
He's the main character.
No, he's not the main character. Neil Young's the main character. Willie's the supposed gunslinger that they end up robbing the seed bank together.
Yeah, they call him Red. Oh, so Neil Young he's the main character, but isn't named.
Right.
They just call him the man in the black hat.
The man in the black hat.
But history has not been kind to him.
Well, he's 73 years old, man. Shit.
I mean,
Wait, history or
this
time?
kind of overweight.
Time. You meant time.
Yeah.
You know, and time has not been kind to him on the body.
Yeah, getting old's a son of a bitch, man.
And trust me, it's right, and it's on your fucking to-do list. Trust me.
Yeah.
If you get old, you know. I don't know, man. The older I get, the more I realize that I thought Neil Young looked pretty decent for somebody at 73 years old. And to be able to jam and play, you know, if you'll look, there's a scene where it shows this list of stuff in alphabetical order, and it's like it looks like about 42. Those are all the songs that they draw from right during the gig. So they get.
So the album is 42 songs long?
No. That's a list of 42 songs that it looks like apparently what they do is that they've got them listed in a way that they can segue from one song into the next song. And Young will pick them out as they're going along through the concert. And the rest of the band is supposed to just jump in right behind him. And that's, you know, that's something to do, but you know, the jam band school of music is you know, it's a genre. The people are unique. You know, it's got its own thing. I hate the Grateful Dead. I'm not big into the jam band thing. I did like Neil Young's music for a long time. And I still, you know, to be honest with you, when I was watching this thing, I dug some of the concert stuff. I like his
like the early songs had drugs. Even the songs in the movies still had drug references in it.
Yeah, of course.
Like getting high.
Yeah.
I mean, like the guy's floating.
Yeah, see, and that's what y'all think about when the guys tie the ropes around themselves and shit, and as soon as they start playing, everybody starts floating. I thought that was so fucking funny, man. I started laughing because, you know, it was obvious after, you know, 5 minutes that this movie was not a science fiction movie. You know, it wasn't a... it wasn't that... it wasn't intellectual at all, man. I mean... You know,
okay.
Look like Yellow Submarine.
No, guys. I think you're missing the whole point here. So, personally, I'm not looking at it from the perspective of the music, because I personally think that Neil Young is a poor man's, what's that guy? Willie Nelson. He's a poor man's Willie Nelson, and he has the voice of a prepubescent teen. So So I really was looking at this from a cinematography movie aspect. And I gotta say, this movie just artistically amazing. Just look at it. Look at all the beautiful cinematography. They did, like, look, you don't even have to think for yourself.
Yeah,
the people are high, so they get to float. You don't have to do any of the thinking.
What about the?
It's amazing.
Float.
What about the juxtaposition of like all this like crisp, high definition stuff with this really bad, digitally mastered stuff that to make it look like it's old. It's like old with the
that was weird.
With the overexposure flares and the bad, and the
Whoa. I thought that it was a genius move to go with steampunk, high def film, completely clean Western clothing, and it's also the future, but we all act like it's the past. That is just the best movie I think made in 2018 for sure.
Brian, have you seen the Blues Brothers?
No, not yet. But
at least, the Blues Brothers actually has a plot. And they go on the mission for this nun and shit, and it's really funny. It's a good movie. But it's got music in it too. Like this one, but this is, I mean, there's hardly any dialogue in it at all.
Yeah. That's the point. That's we gotta give this a fair shake, guys. The point of the movie
it was
is
good. Like, the camera angles are good.
All right, are we music critics or are we sci-fi film critics?
Can we be both?
No.
Yeah, why can't we be both?
No.
Okay, I mean, as a movie, I would be kind of say it's okay.
What up, Tennessee Marine?
Hey, Daniel.
Yeah, no. I think that, it doesn't really even qualify as a movie though, because it doesn't even really qualify as a musical though, because I didn't hear any music the entire time. It was just sort of. It was just sort of a guy who was stoned out of his gourd talking.
Well, that is Neil Young, Brian.
Pretty much, I think Young. Let's focus on Daryl Hannah for a second, okay? And think about this, all right?
She was hot in Mermaid.
Definitely,
she
man.
was.
She was a beautiful, really sexy ass mermaid in that movie. But and she looked great in Blade Runner.
Yeah, now she looks like a bloated alcoholic foot.
Yeah, dude, man. You are rough, Bubba.
What? That's just the truth. I'm sorry.
Yeah, she does look kind of rough. See, this is what some of these Hollywood women don't seem to understand is that you're going to age. There's nothing you can do to make yourself look, 30 years younger. It's just not going to happen. But then they do all this shit to their mouths and their faces, and they end up just looking kind of monstrous.
Yes.
And I don't know why they do that, because she would probably look pretty good.
You know why they do that? Here's how it happens, man. They go to these fucking parties, man, and there's these sick fucking plastic surgeons that troll these parties, and they look at these women and they prey on them, and they say, God, you used to be so beautiful, with those crow's feet, blah blah blah. You were a 9 or 10 back in the day, but now you're just a 6. I can make you a 9 again. Or maybe an 8.5 if I really, if we really work hard.
Some of them don't even wait until they're older to do it. I mean, look at Lauren Southern, man.
Exactly. They're starting to do it on girls when they turn 25 years old.
But guys, Lauren Southern really needed it, though.
I don't think so. I don't know. I disagree. I strongly disagree.
This movie reminded me of Magical Mystery Tour.
Yeah, a little bit. It had a kind of that Beatlesy kind of feel to it. And the fact that it just had no plot and just kind of meandered around, around the music.
Except Magical Mystery Tour had good music.
Yeah, well, I thought the jamming on this was decent. It's Neil Young and a good jam band. I can listen. I could, put it on and have it jamming in the background.
Because my favorite Neil Young album is After the Gold Rush.
That's a good album. Actually, that's the one that's got Heart of Gold on it, and that's the studio album that he did. I like the Crazy Horse stuff. The more heavier the electric stuff.
You know, it'd be ironic if Neil Young and what was that group he ran with? Like,
I think it'd be ironic if we could stay on a point.
Like if they had the other guys, Neil Young and who's the other guy?
Willie Nelson.
Willie Nelson?
Yeah, that'd be fun if they were all in the movie, just doing the stuff they did in the movie.
I'm not sure I follow you there.
Yeah,
what?
If he had his old group he ran with, if they were the cast of the movie.
Oh, you mean the old band?
Yes.
Okay, all right, I understand that. Well, these new guys, I was like, dude, you get in your 70s, and some of these old musicians are dead. Played with Neil. Nils Lofgren. I'm not sure what he's doing now, but a lot of them just retired, man.
Maybe these new guys are actually decent.
Yeah, they're okay. They're good jam band players. But the two main characters, the one we're looking at right now, with the beard and the one with the welding goggles on, those are Willie Nelson's sons. All right.
Oh.
Yeah, and they're in a band, and I can't remember that band's name. I've probably got it written down somewhere here. But yeah, and that's the band that's really he's playing with. It's almost like he picked the band, that band up and just kind of like said, all right, I'm going to take y'all over for a couple of tours. And they don't care. Fuck, the money's good, and it's easy. The music's rudimentary. Is pretty easy chord structure to play around. So it's not any weird time signatures or anything like that they got to worry about. So shit, you get stoned and jam around with this dude, and you make some moolah.
Did he change guitars halfway through the movie?
Yeah, he did an acoustic set. He did 2 acoustic sets, and then he did during the live album. He played during the live part. He played a Les Paul, and then he had this SSG he used on one song. But he primarily played that Les Paul, and then the one that he had the most with is just, it looks like an old Yamaha acoustic that he took around with him pretty most of it. That you could tell he had that Les Paul a long time, man, because it was worn down. That
ending came out left.
Well, see, he was playing a mandolin in that scene. And that was just so weird. He comes out walking out of the woods, and he's got Daryl Hannah on a rope, fucking flying behind him.
Yeah, that was something.
Oh shit. Oh, Brian, why are you being quiet, bro?
Oh, well, I was just sort of waiting until you guys were done to talk.
Okay, talk, bro. I'm done.
Well, I did want to get back onto another point of older actresses that still look good without ever having plastic surgery, and Helen Mirren. Come on now.
Yeah.
No shit. And Lauren Bacall, man.
Have you seen the picture of Helen Mirren from, like, I don't know, man. I want to say it was only like 5 years ago in a bikini.
Yeah. She looks fantastic, man. She still looks good.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's starting to catch up with her now, but yeah, and well into her 60s. She looked pretty
Oh, wow.
amazing.
You are not kidding.
Yeah.
But the ending to this movie felt like Monty Python's Quest for a Holy Grail kind of ending.
Yeah,
It just stops.
Raquel Welch, she's another one, man, from that era. Jesus, what a gorgeous woman.
Yeah, the pink bikini. I guess it's like the first one that pops up if you search Helen Mirren bikini in Google Images.
Yep.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. I guess that one's from when she was 63, or maybe that's red, not pink. But
God, I hope.
yeah.
To look anywhere near anything like that when you're 63.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. I don't know, man. Just good genes, I guess.
Yeah,
I guess.
Well, yeah, man.
But also, she didn't cut her face into the shape of a foot. So.
No, she didn't. Exactly.
Yeah,
she resisted. You're right. She resisted that fucking that plastic surgery, man. You see, and that's somebody mentioned this earlier. You know, starting at younger people, if they get them addicted to there's an addiction, and it turns into a body dysmorphic disorder, man. And these women start looking at themselves, and they see themselves as and they get more and more and more useless, unnecessary surgery, and they turn themselves into these fucking lion things, man. And that's sad, because Daryl Hannah was beautiful, and I think that she would have aged well without any kind of help, from plastic surgery at all. I really.
That's cool about William. I was reading the chat.
What about William?
Oh, he said he cleaned Les Paul's chimney for his oil burner.
Oh wow, man!
That's cool.
Really? And he's down there where you are, man. Is he? I think he passed away recently. But that was so you met the man. He, Les Paul. He not only invented the electric guitar, he invented multi-track recording. Which was, he took a single track recorder and then put 2 heads on it, and then put 4 heads on it, and came up with he patented all this stuff, man. The 16 track, even came up with a tape delay with the echo on it. So yeah, he was an inventor as much as he was a musician, and that dude could play a sweet guitar, man. Beautiful jazz guitar player. Yeah. Well, my hat's off to you, man. You met the man, bro. He's a legend. Yeah, brother. I bet you was telling everybody, man. I bet that story got you laid a couple times.
So since there's really that's hilarious. since there's really no story to go over here, I guess, do you just want to start giving it ratings?
I'll rate a 4 out of 10.
Okay.
If you could look up the whole movie as a soundtrack on YouTube, do it.
Right. Something to play while you're cleaning the house or something.
Yeah, but as a movie, it's no Blues Brothers.
But are we talking Blues Brothers or Blues Brothers 2000?
The original.
The first one, man.
Oh, okay.
Because 2000 doesn't exist.
God, I agree with Jacob. I totally agree on the Blues Brothers thing. All right, you go ahead, brother.
Well, I think that this movie is a solid, probably 9.5 out of 10, because the art and the directing, that was just top tier. Clearly, all of the scenes were just of such a nature that you can't compare to the regular, beta movie. It's good. This is a super chat of movies. It really understands symbolism and how the a mind saturated with THC works.
At least there's no Viva La Raza.
So if I'm gonna be honest, I have to give this a solid 9.5. I'm just fucking with you guys. I'm just fucking
I was
with you.
gonna say my bullshitometer is pegging. You're pegging it on my bullshitometer. Dude.
I'm not sure. Seemed like you were taking me seriously there for a second.
All right, here's the deal. All right, as a science fiction movie, I give this film a 0. All right, maybe a -1. As a concert film, as a concert movie, I give it about a 5.
Yeah, me too.
It's the closest thing to it would be the song remains the same, but it's far much better, and you get 4 movies instead of this one piece of shit. And better music.
Okay. Well, so if we're going to talk about it like that, I would say as a concert movie, this probably gets a 2. And as a science fiction movie, there's no, hands down, it's a 0. It's not a science fiction movie. And I would like to introduce this category as a stoner movie.
Okay.
This gets a solid 5 out of 7.
Okay.
Oh, then it gets a 420 from me.
Yes, he gets it. He gets it.
All right. Jacob, man, you just get a 5 for me, man. A 5 out of 5. I'm being awesome. Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah.
So, was there really no story to this movie? Is that basically the...
Oh, all right, here's the story, all right? There's a stupid story, okay?
I mean, there is.
Because it sounds similar to another movie that I've seen called A Field in England, which is a British-produced movie. And it's been, I don't know, this movie I'm talking about came out in 2013, so it's been quite a while since I've seen it. But I think these guys like escape from a battle or something, and they like desert the battle, and it just kind of devolves from there, and there's some kind of supernatural stuff, but it's not really well defined. No.
Oh, I was about that werewolf movie in England, also with military.
It's Dog Soldiers is the name of that one.
Yeah, that one was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't really remember very clearly exactly what happens in this movie, but A Field in England, that is. But it just sounds kind of vaguely similar as far as what actually happens and the description of it.
Yeah, well, basically what this is that they're robbing these seed banks and they're stealing the seeds of life. Okay, whatever. There's this bus that comes up with these women in it. But they give the guys this 14-year-old kid, and they say, okay, obviously the men and women aren't living together, but they are procreating somehow. It's just pure stupidity. It looks like literally one of the stories that I read about it is they had 3 days, they had a camera and a concert in between, and literally that's what it looks like. It looks like it.
Yeah, it does. It really does.
You know, we got 3 days of camera and a concert. Kill them.
Now that sounds plausible.
Exactly. Bingo. And fucking Daryl Hannah sold it to fucking Netflix. So she gets genius points on that. Being able to sell this piece of shit to Netflix. So
I mean, maybe if it's her last thing she ever wants to do with Netflix, but
yeah.
But I would think that you wouldn't want to burn that bridge so badly.
Yeah, especially not with Netflix becoming so
popular.
You know, I mean, with the production of movies, I mean, Netflix has been popular a long time, but when it comes to all of the movies that they've put out, yeah, they're getting they're pretty prolific.
They might make
production.
a part of season 2.
What?
Season 2 of what?
Season 2, like the Parsons is getting a second season.
The what is?
The Parsons?
The Punishers?
Punisher.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. That's not surprising.
Yeah. I haven't watched that yet, actually.
The first episode is the best in my opinion. It's great, and then it kind of. I don't know, man. There was parts that I really liked about it. I didn't mind Micro, but that's
I felt weird.
that's just a different show. All right. So what do we want to look at next week, Brian? You said you had an idea, and it's your turn to inflict the agony since I punished you with this week. What you maybe you with you actually have taste. So turn us on. What's next week's movie?
Okay, so I think we should we should let the audience decide on this one because I had 3 that I was thinking would be worthwhile. Lost in Space season 1 is coming out tomorrow.
That's right.
And it looks, I watched the trailers and everything, it looks like it's going to be good. This looks like it's got the budget. I liked the even most recent Lost in Space with Minnie Driver.
Oh, Taxi Marine said The Punisher.
Well, that's not on the list, though.
Oh,
that's too bad. Anyway, So
well, you guys are doing what? Sci-fi and horror, though.
Yeah, sci-fi. Yeah.
so we can't pick Heat.
What?
What? The 90s movie with Danny DeVito and
not Danny DeVito. It was Robert De Niro.
It was both of them. It was
You're thinking of
not Danny DeVito. I meant Al Pacino, not Danny DeVito. Sorry. Wrong name. I'm thinking of the right movie, just saying the wrong name. Yeah. And they, what's the guy's name? He was in
Val Kilmer.
Jonathan Price.
Right.
Yeah. Jonathan Price.
The British guy. Yeah.
And the chick from Californication. What's her name? She's an Irish chick, I think, and she's Irish chick in the movie. She's got an Irish name, Natasha McElhone. Is that right?
I don't know.
Yeah, she played David Duchovny's wife in Californication.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, I know you're talking about.
Yeah.
There you go.
She was in that too.
All right. So what are the other 2?
The other 2, we have Day of the Dead Bloodline.
Yeah, I was looking at that this morning. Okay.
Which we could even, even if we don't choose this one, we can still do what we did with Paradox, because I have a feeling this is a Paradox Bridget Jones's baby.
Just no, that's a good idea.
Hold on a second. All right. And what's the third one?
And the third one, I just had it up. What did I do with it? Is it? I just had this up. I've been interrupted though, and so I can't remember what it was.
Sorry. Castlevania?
No, definitely not Castlevania.
That animated series was all right.
I remember now. Berserk. There was people in the audience that wanted us to do Berserk that we still haven't done.
Oh wow, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh man. I'm not gonna have time. There's no way that I'm gonna have time to participate in watching a series. Maybe I don't even know if I'll have time.
All right, how about this? All right, how about this? Let's do Day of the Dead since it's a movie next week, okay? And then the next week we'll go ahead and do Lost in Space, and that'll give 2 weeks to watch the series. Are you good with that?
That sounds good.
All right, and then we'll do Berserk the next week. We'll just do that. All right. So it'll be 1, 2, 3. All right, I got them written down, and I'll pop them on the board. So we got the next 3 episodes mapped out.
Romero make the Day of the Dead movie?
No, this is a remake of the original Day of the Dead.
Oh, the one with Ving Rhames and
No.
Paul Walker.
No.
Dawn of the Dead.
That's right. That's a remake of Dawn of the Dead. This is
Oh, you said Day of the
you're
Dead.
right. This is a remake
Yeah.
of the third movie with where they've got the one that's half sentient and shit.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
The Day of the Dead or Dawn of the Dead remake was good. I
Yeah,
like that.
it was
one.
actually excellent, man. I thought it was good too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we'll go
I don't
ahead.
know.
Let's go ahead and we'll go ahead and end the show. Once again, you blame Discord on the bullshit at the beginning, but we still had fun. I had fun. Did y'all have fun?
I had fun.
I had fun.
Oh, yeah.
If you had fun, hit 1. Oh, all right.
Spam them ones. Spam the ones.
I can't spam anything. I say
Give me them Unos.
Damn. Machine gun.
Can we show stuff?
All right, people. All right, it's IRATE Prostate and Big Fat Brian, and we are out for this one. And like I said, next week we'll be talking Day of the Dead, the remake. It's also known as Day of the Dead Bloodline. All right,
Thug life, fam.
that's right. See y'all next week. Take care.
Bye.